Hi guys, and welcome to this week's weekly forecast. So we're going to look at a couple of pairs as suggested on the group. We're going to look at a couple of pairs and the two commodities, Brent and gold. So I'm gonna do this as fast as I can so that it's not too long for people to watch, because longer videos, I've noticed people tend to get bored in watching those videos. So first things first, we're going to look at the calendar, and we've got two main fundamentals this week in regards to dollar. We've got two main fundamentals. We've got CPI. Tomorrow we've got PPI first for the US Producer Price Index, which is the main gauge that is used by the Fed in terms of understanding where inflation is either going. Then on Wednesday we've got CPI, inflation news. Those are the two main fundamentals for dollar this week, and those are the ones that could give us a change in market direction. Either way, if dollar is to be weak, CPI is gonna tell us. If dollar is gonna continue with its bullish institutional order flow we have been seeing for the couple of past months, we will see that. So depending on how CPI would have come out on Wednesday, by the time we get, say, Producer Price Index, we are going to get more or less an understanding of where CPI might come through. So yeah, those are the main fundamentals. We also have Powell speaking, that is tomorrow. We've got Powell speaking at 4 o'clock, and that's going to be crucial in dollar directional bias. But one thing you have to take note, guys, is it won't really do much, especially when we've got these high impact news like CPI and PPI. So PPI might take dollar upwards, then when Powell comes, it might take it downwards, like an instant reaction, an instant profit taking incident. So it's a case of understanding what the outcome is, what the outcome means in terms of market direction. And I would suggest that for longer trades, for swing trades, there isn't really nothing much to worry about. But for day trades, you'd really want to see how CPI and PPI comes out. So with that in mind, right? With that in mind, I still remain bullish on dollar. I'm expecting market to trade from internal range liquidity to external range liquidity. But right now, I think last week's high could be a target, and that represents internal range liquidity of buy stops. So the weekly forecast for dollar index context is weekly internal range liquidity to external range liquidity. Though external range liquidity, I'm talking about these highs here, the high of April, those are a bit to the upside. But with fundamentals like PPI and CPI and Powell coming in tomorrow, CPI on Wednesday, there's nothing really that can stop, say, dollar trading all the way to those highs. It can, or it can literally flash to the downside. But in terms of my focus, in terms of the analysis that I have done, I'm expecting dollar to push to the upside from internal range to external range liquidity. Last week's high is a target. The reason why I'm remaining bullish is because the weekly bullish institutional order flow has not been violated at this moment in time. That weekly fair value gap, you see, the weekly fair value gap hasn't been violated. It's providing what? Support to price. So I remain a bull on dollar index, meaning when you go to the lower time frame, you see, you need to see price trading into discount and then rallying to the upside. Right now we're heading into PPI and Powell later tomorrow, like afternoon, New York open, New York lunchtime. We're getting PPI and Powell, and price is right now in a higher time frame discount array in the form of our weekly fair value gap. Now, one thing you have to understand, guys, now we are in the third week of May. Yeah, we're in the third week of May. Understand what price aims to achieve on the monthly. Price seeks liquidity, or it offers fair value. If it fails to offer fair value, only one thing remains for the market to do, and that is to seek liquidity, right? So understanding that context on the monthly chart, price does two things. Number one, it seeks liquidity. Number two, it offers fair value. Right now price is offering us fair value. Once it offers fair value, it targets liquidity, it seeks liquidity. You see? So understanding that context over a monthly time frame is crucial. So when we go to the daily chart, right? When we go to the daily chart, currently price is trading in a weekly fair value gap. Price is inside a weekly fair value gap, right? There isn't any reason for us to be bearish right now because we're in fair value for longs. So there's no reason to be bearish at this moment in time. So last week's high, right? This level here, it says last week high. This becomes now our initial draw on liquidity. So that's last week high. This becomes our draw on liquidity because we've got internal range liquidity of buy stops, right? We've got internal range liquidity of buy stops. Remember, the context is price trading from internal range to external range. External range is these two relatively equal highs, but for class purposes, I'm targeting price to trade above last week high. The only thing that will determine that price is going to continue going lower is when we have violated the weekly fair value gap. When it has been invalidated, then we are likely to see price trading all the way to the downside, all the way to this bullish order block, right? So when we go to the H4 time frame, right, now on the H4 time frame, we need to see price displacing higher and disrespect this fair value gap here. You see, we need to see price displacing higher, meaning my focus from last week, the same focus from last week. Let me just grab my my tool. The same focused from last week is what I'm anticipating price to do, right? So I'm expecting a move to upside, retrace back to that same daily fair value gap, and then we clear the what, the internal range liquidity. You see, we clear the internal range liquidity. once we clear that internal range liquidity, it's now a support zone, and then price should trade to the upside. That's what I'm anticipating in terms of dollar. This fair value gap here, it should provide a bit of resistance to price, but with power on the calendar, with PPI, this is where you get big moves to the upside. Of course, if we do trade lower and trade below this previous low here, then this whole structure becomes invalidated. You'll be looking for the opposite, price finding resistance on that weekly inverted fair value gap, and price should push lower, right? So we can continue going to move lower, right? We can continue going on lower prices. That is if you want to refine your entries. So understanding now your entry time frame, but I use the H4. If price has not met my parameters here on this H4 here, if I haven't seen that structure that I'm looking out for, then I won't even entertain any trades, unless if there's something else that I would have seen in the market. So yeah, that's my focus on dollar index. I'm still looking for price to move to the upside, right? I'm still looking for price to move to the upside. Now the other pair that you guys suggested is Aussie dollar, Euro USD, and Pound USD. So since I'm bullish on dollar index, but take note guys, this focus that I'm having here is all gonna be determined by PPI and CPI. Those fundamentals, they can turn these things upside down. So it's always good to be in a position to react to the context of what the fundamental has been published. So we should be in a position to react. If I'm bullish on dollar, then obviously I'm going to look for lower prices on Euro USD. And right now you can see where we are. We're trading into premium, right? We're in fair value on the weekly chart on dollar. Remember, we are in fair value. So this is our bearish OB. Let me just mark it. On dollar, we're in a bullish weekly fair value gap. On Euro USD, we're in a weekly bearish order block. I'm anticipating price to find resistance inside this order flow array, your premium array. I'm expecting euro to move to the downside, right? So expecting weakness on euro, targeting last week's low. You see, last week's low becomes a target, right? So that's last week low, right? That's your target for shorting opportunities. But where are you gonna short from? Currently where price is, if this was a Tuesday, if this was a Wednesday, this would have been a nice place to short. But we haven't reached Tuesday, it's only Monday today, and there weren't that much fundamentals. So we could see probably another run to the upside, right? To take out this high here, we could see price take out this internal range liquidity pool of buy stops. We could see price take out these buy stops before it moves lower. So we've got fair value right there. See, that's our daily fair value gap. Let me mark that out. So that's T1 fair value gap. So you'll be expecting price to find resistance inside this price action, right? So where am I? Sorry, this is not what I want. This is not what I want. So the forecast will be something like that, and then we're moving lower, you see, that, and then ultimately targeting the previous low, you see, targeting the previous low. So this is my forecast on Euro USD. I'm expecting price to move lower after trading. To be nice for price, you see, price trading above, the way it reacts, right? Remember that daily fair value gap, right? This daily fair value gap, look what we have there. We've got an H4 bearish order block, you see, we've got an H4 bearish order block. It might look as if it's far, right? It might look as if it's far in terms of movement, in terms of pips, but with CPI and PPI, price can reach there easy, you see, price can reach this level quite easy, right? It's just above our daily fair value gap. So expect price to find huge resistance inside this level here. It might not even go to the upside. If we go to the calendar, what we have in the morning tomorrow, if we go to the calendar and look on Tuesday, we haven't got much except for pound average earnings. Then we've got German CPI at 8 a.m. So yeah, we could see a bit of strength coming into euro before it moves lower to the downside. In a weekly bearish order flow, expect the high of the week to be formed Tuesday or Wednesday during London or New York session. So I'm anticipating that on Euro USD. Then we've got Pound USD. Same applies with Pound USD. If we go to our weekly chart, right, so Pound USD, this is our weekly chart, right? We have traded above the weekly fair value gap, right? We have traded above this weekly FVG, right? Price is trading above, but with us looking for lower prices, higher prices on dollar, right? I won't be surprised to see this current weekly candle, which is only a Monday candle, right? If it closes bearish, right? So we've got a bearish order block there, right? So we've got a weekly bearish OB right here, right? That's our weekly bearish OB, expecting price to find resistance and push lower, then we go to the downside. Remember, if it's not clear enough, don't even bother to, if your institutional order flow is not clear enough, don't force it. You see, the moment you force highlighting your premium and discount array, then something is not right. You're telling the price what you want to see, right? So this one is our high probability. See, this is a high probability bearish order block, and this is on our entry time frame bearish OB. This is on our entry time frame H4. So expecting price to trade into this level and move to the downside, filling up all this imbalance here. You see, price filling up. So we could get, say, a move lower to fill up the imbalance, right? And then price breaks above to this high probability H4 bearish order block, and then eventually flash to the downside, right? So that's what I'm anticipating on Pound USD. I'm bearish on Pound USD. Then we've got Aussie dollar, right? We've got Aussie dollar. Same applies. Aussie dollar, I'll be looking for shorting opportunities. So this is our weekly chart, right? On our weekly chart, you can see our price has been finding resistance at this level here, right? And this is our weekly fair value gap. Weekly fair value gap, and price is finding huge resistance. The gap starts here, guys. You can see this low and that high, all this level here, and the fact that we haven't traded above this previous high, right, this one here, right there, this old high, let me just mark it, old high. The fact that we haven't traded above the old high in a while, what resides above that old high? Internal range liquidity, buy stops, right? So we've got buy stops above that high. In terms of target, where will price likely find support? Right here in this weekly bullish OB. So I'm bearish on Aussie dollar. I'm looking for lower prices on Aussie dollar from our entry time frame, which is H4, right? So this is the daily. You see this old high that I marked here, this old high here, it's too clean. These ones here, 1 2 3, they're too clean, so you might expect price to move into that level there, right? And then we've got our daily, bearish OB. This is our daily bearish OB, right? And you can see how price has already found a bit of resistance inside that level. So if we are looking for shorting opportunities, these levels here, this imbalance here, that's why I'll be targeting price to trade to. If price trades above that old high, internal range liquidity, expect these imbalances to be a target. Price should expand, it should displace to the downside, targeting the imbalance, right? Price has to fulfill that imbalance. Then on our entry time frame, we've got the H4 bearish OB, right? We've got an H4 bearish OB here. H4 bearish OB, right? And all these old lows here becomes your targets, right? Because you're expecting price to displace to the downside, targeting these old lows, internal range liquidity of buy, of sell stops, right? So expect price to most probably create another high this week before it can move lower. And you already see the premium areas that I've marked. H4 bearish order block inside a daily bearish order block, high probability level of resistance, and price should displace to the downside. Then same applies, the same forecast, you can apply it on NZD USD. I don't want to take much of your time, folks. I don't want to take much of your time, but the same analysis, you can see there we've got our fair value gap, right? The fact that it has been filled, guys, does not negate that price can still find resistance inside it, in this case here where we are looking for shorting opportunities. And then we also have a weekly bearish OB right there, right? So we've got a weekly bearish OB, we've got a weekly fair value gap, expecting price to find resistance inside those levels. So with NZD USD, I'm going to mark the institutional order flow for you guys, but as an assignment, make sure you also highlight, you see we already have a daily bearish order block here, high probability. You can see price move lower, and right now that's where we are. We touched, I think, the low of this bearish order block, and then we moved lower. So expecting price to find resistance inside those premium areas, and then we're targeting last week lows. You see, last week lows becomes our target. So on our entry time frame, you can clearly see that fair value gap on the H4. That's our daily bearish order block. So expect price to find resistance in there. Expect price to find resistance and push lower. Okay, let me go back to H4. Right, so we're saying price to find resistance, most probably after trading last week's, after trading above last week high. So running internal range liquidity of buy stops. So after trading above last week's high, that's probably creating the high of the week before price move lower. Then someone said Bitcoin. Unfortunately, I cannot focus on Bitcoin. You might need to have George have a look at this asset here. He's the one who knows it in and out. As for me, yes, I can tell you, what I can tell you for sure is that I think we are still gonna see lower prices on Bitcoin, especially, let's just say in crypto. We are going to see further moves lower at this moment in time. There isn't much happening to push price higher, so expect lower prices on Bitcoin, but I don't think we're gonna see Bitcoin lower than 45. But right now prices are pushing to the downside. I would advise looking for lower prices, looking for shorting opportunities from premium areas. Then we also have gold. Right, gold, I've got set up that I'm watching it with the signal group for gold. Yeah, there is a signal group for gold. For those of you who want to know, there's a signal group for gold. The move that happened to the upside last week, I was anticipating it to happen inside this daily bullish order block, but be that as it may, we missed that move, and then it rallied all the way to this bullish order block, to a bearish order block. Price is now finding lower prices. With the anticipation of lower prices on dollar, expect this imbalance here on the precious metal to be filled. Price is trading from internal range liquidity buy stops, targeting internal range liquidity sell stops. I don't think we can trade below 22.77 because 2300 is an ideal level for longs right now on the precious metal. 2300 is ideal for longs. So in terms of forecast, what then should you anticipate when price reaches 2300? That's the middle point of this previous consolidation, which was broken to the upside here, right? This break to the upside, this expansion here, remember, expansion, consolidation, retracement, and you know the rest. So elements to trade setup, we've had an expansion, and that expansion has left a high probability bullish order block. So we're talking of 2300 as an area to look for high probability long opportunities, right? So looking for long opportunities from 2300 on the precious metal. As for Brent, I haven't been following Brent in a while, but yeah, lower prices in the forecast, expecting price to move lower, heading towards $80 a barrel from premium. And you can see we already have a weekly bearish order block there, which is high probability, right? let's go back here. Let's come to this level here. Let me just illustrate something. So we've got a high probability weekly bearish order block right there, right? Then we've got a fair value gap, right? We've got a fair value gap. What are the chances of price coming back to fill up the gap? Not really that much. You see this candle here, look at this candle in the previous one, they're all bearish candles. Price will return to this fair value gap in order to add more positions, that is liquidating those who are long, grabbing liquidity inside this level for another push lower, right? So understand that above $84 a barrel, it's an ideal area for you to be a seller, right? Once price say trades anywhere in between, say the equilibrium point of this weekly fair value gap, or as high as the high of the fair value gap, expect price to move lower, targeting $82 a barrel. So hunting for shorting opportunities on Brent is ideal. Hunting for shorting opportunities from this weekly fair value gap, right? So yeah, that's pretty much about it. I don't think there's anything that I skipped. Brent, gold, Aussie, euro, pound, NZD, gold. Yeah, so I've literally covered all the pairs that you guys suggested, and I'm hoping you have picked up one or two. And for those who have not understood anything, come on guys, you can send messages on the group for clarification, and then we can always look into it. It's not that much of a train smash. If you didn't understand something, or if there's something you need clarification with, just send a message on the group and I will attend to that. So yeah, with that guys, I wish you good luck and happy trading for the week. Thank you.